Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching The Political Vigilante, bringing truth to you from somewhere underneath Wayne Manor in the outskirts of Gotham City. I talk a lot about climate on this show because it's for real. There was a climate report that came out in 2018 that said we got 12 years to turn things around. It was a UN report. Everybody running for office in 2018 and 2019 and was screaming about it, screaming about it, screaming about it. I was like, if Joe Biden becomes president, he literally said on the campaign trail, middle ground climate policy. I said, that's not enough. And you know who agrees with me is the IPCC. This is their new report. It came out February 28th. Climate change, a threat to human well-being and the health of the planet. Taking action now can secure our future. And I talked about this in a video last week. One of the things they outline in here is like, there's irreversible damage in Florida. Irreversible. There's still a small little window of hope in this report, but we're not going to get this by bombing everybody and ramping up war in Ukraine and wherever else. Increased heat waves, droughts, and floods are already exceeding plants and animals' tolerance thresholds, driving mass mortalities in species such as trees and corals. The scientific evidence is unequivocal. Climate change is a threat to human well-being and the health of the planet. Any further delay in concentrated global action will miss a brief and rapidly closing window to secure an livable future, says Hans Otto Portner. And I just saw this on the internet I wanted to add. Since the Russian invasion, the cost to produce wind energy has gone up $0. I want to welcome to the show host of Get Your News On with Ron, my friend, Ron Placone. Ron,
hey,
thank
Graham.
you for joining us today, buddy.
What's up, man? Yeah, man, that IPCC report, which was not even mentioned in the State of the Union, they didn't bring up climate change as a topic. There were one or two occasions where he did say the word climate and change next to each other. So bravo. But he didn't bring it up as a topic. He didn't bring up this report at all. And yeah, the report pretty much laid it out. I mean, we got about 8 years at this point. You know, it's not 12 anymore. I mean, it's gone down. We got about 8 years. We have pretty much till the end of the decade to really take some drastic action. And, you know, I was surprised. The thing that surprised me most about that report, and it wasn't necessarily in a good way or a bad way, it was just sort of in an observational way, was how much of it was focused on adaptation. And, you know, when we first started talking about adaptation, I mean, there was that piece that went viral a couple years ago. I think it was called like The Great Adaptation or something like that. But it was an academic piece and everyone thought it was like all doom and gloom because it was just so focused on adaptation. If you actually read it, it really wasn't all that doom and gloom. It just kind of acknowledged what we're going to have to do. And, you know, that's kind of where we're at now, because like we're at the point where there's going to be some damage no matter what. And it's going to be enough damage that we're not going to go back to the way things were. There's going to be a new normal. But if we do better and mitigate the damage, we're not going to be faced with something that we can't adapt to for the most part. And, you know, some would say that's pretty discouraging, but whether you're discouraged by it or not, it's reality. So, you know, the time to act is now.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally, I'm just so mystified as to how like each report every year from the IPCC, from whoever, is always like, no, it's worse than we said. Like the sea levels are rising faster than we thought. The climate, the temperature, the planet, its temperature is getting warmer faster than we thought. Like every year. And then there's these like very tangible effects that are happening. We just had on the island of Oahu, on the North Shore of Oahu, a house literally on the North Shore fell into the ocean because of beach erosion. Like they've been talking about this. And then you listen to like local governments. I mean, Miami, they've had all this flooding. South Florida, I mean, I've read certain reports in the last year that said they're going to have to evacuate it. So that what are we going to have? When are people going to wake up? When they evacuate South Florida, when 4 million people have to come north, or what are they going to do? Build a seawall around the island of Manhattan?
I think you might be right. I mean, honestly, I think it might take like a straight up city is going to just be uninhabitable. And then and only then will we kind of, wake up as a society. I mean, I think a lot of people want action on climate change. I mean, more and more people are saying like this is the most important issue. This is like such a big deal. But, we have a government that doesn't give a hoot about public opinion. I mean, there's plenty of studies that confirm that. In fact, they actively work against it. So they're not going to do anything. I mean, the one bright spot is that climate change is a world problem. So, while our government is being absolutely repulsive as they always are, other governments aren't. There's some amazing things going on in places like Denmark and Norway and Sweden and China. So you just kind of, I mean, where I get my hope is that other places in the world will drag the US kicking and screaming and will, take action enough to mitigate this.
I mean, you got to hope. I mean, there's a lot of, there's like India, which is an emerging market. It has over 1 billion people, and it passed a law a couple of years ago saying I think the year 2035, no more gas cars can be sold. That's why every car manufacturer now has an electric car. Like that changed in a couple of years. I was at the LA Auto Show in just this past December, and every car company had an electric car now.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so
you gotta strip away their profit motive. I mean, that's
right.
the thing, and that's where there's a top-down thing. Like, look, I wish we didn't have a society that revolved around Wall Street. I wish we never fricking did that. But unfortunately, that's the society we have, and that will likely never change in our lifetimes. I have a feeling Wall Street's still gonna be going long after you and I are dead and gone, which sucks, but that's just the way it is. But what could we see? Well, we could see a future where they're not, pummeling the profits via oil and gas and instead have to find profits in sustainable energy, which that means we'll be able to live on this planet. And, I could live with that. I think we all could. So you have to take away their incentive because in the meantime, and I talked with Dr. Fadl Kaboub about this on my show. It's like, look, in the meantime, none of them are going to give because they don't want to miss out on all the short-term oil and gas profits. If one of them says, hey, we're completely divesting, one of the big financial firms that really run this freaking place, if one of them says, hey, we're divesting and we're going to go straight up green, legit green, well, they're going to miss out on the short-term oil and gas profits, which means they're going to get gobbled up, and they know that, so they're not going to do that. So they're all kind of just being like, well, I guess I'd like to stay on this planet, but if they're not going to give, I'm not going to give. That's what every firm's doing. So if policy comes in and says, hey, guys, you don't have to have a pissing contest right now because by 2028 or 2030 or whatever, you're done anyway. It's over. It's against the law. So you have to. Well, then all of a sudden, they're not going to be in this short-term mindset anymore. And they're going to think, okay, we have a freaking deadline. So now we got to work against that deadline. And whoever gets there quicker, they're going to be the one who wins financially. That's a better race for them to be in, So that's why you need some legit policy.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it does like this notion that the free market will just adapt to it. No, the free market has caused this. So we do need top-down policy. And maybe one of the upsides that could come out of the Ukraine, the Russian invasion of Ukraine is that America is obviously, we've talked about this before, is America has provoked this. We've been provoking this since 2014. We've been trying to get NATO in here, but we might, as we think the whole world is isolating Russia, actually we're going to get isolated, and Russia and China and India and Pakistan and Iran and Iraq, they're in Kazakhstan. I mean, they're all starting to like line up together, and it'll just be America and, a couple of small European countries. And most of those European countries, like you just pointed out, already have very progressive policy with regard to the environment. China has even been spending, a lot of money every year creating green energy, even though they're still a very, they're
still a big polluter, but they're at least doing something on the other end too.
And I think what's going to happen is they could just economically overtake America, and green energy might just be like the only option left. and it'll
great.
force these companies into doing it. And it's, again, I'm not saying the electric car is like that alone is going to save the world. But if you just look at like how these car companies were resistant to it, and now, they all have to have one. And, part of Build Back Better, and there's much to be critical of that, was they claim, at least in there, is electric vehicle infrastructure, which is desperately needed throughout the United States. And it's going to take something like that. And I think this combination of, we're going to have to evacuate one of the cities. And if it's a city that's going to host the Super Bowl, then we'll definitely deal with climate change. If the Super Bowl gets canceled because of climate change,
they wouldn't cancel it. They'd just move it.
Right. But
that
it's like,
that would be the one situation where like the United States would be able to build something as quick as China can build a hospital. if they had to frickin' move the Super Bowl. We can't, in a public health crisis, we can't get a hospital done ever. No. We can't do that. China can do it in 48 hours. We can't do that. But if it came time to move the Super Bowl, we could get that done in 24 hours, baby. We could freaking nail that. The Super Bowl will still go off. Don't worry.
Pepsi and Nike and Gatorade and the NFL would have a fucking floating stadium in South Florida that like boats could ride up to in like 48 hours. They'd have that thing done.
Oh, yeah. They would play it on literally a sinking ship if they had to. If they would just play it on like the people in the top rows are probably not going to make it. They're probably going to, but you got to die watching the Super Bowl. What a way to go out.
Yeah. Your family gets a plaque that said you died watching the Super Bowl, and you get Tostitos for the rest of your life. So it's going to be really fantastic.
Well, for the first year, they're free. Then it's $9.99 a month if you want to continue the unlimited Tostito supply. But that's, you have to read the small print to see that.
Yeah, it's Tostitos for life with an asterisk, and then it says, well, it's $9.99 after the first year.
One day, I mean, I always thought like, at some point in my life, it'd be cool to go to a Super Bowl. And it was just sort of on my bucket list. It's not, I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm like, I have no desire. I'd rather just be sitting around bullshitting with friends if I'm going to do anything at all. I have no desire to ever go to one of those fucking things. No desire at all.
I went to one in 2002 in San Diego. It was the Buccaneers versus the Raiders. And it was fun. And back then I was super into watching the NFL, and it was cool. And I'm glad I got to go. But now, I mean, it is just the most corporate, and I just feel like watching this last Super Bowl at that new sofa, that $5 billion stadium in Los Angeles. That's like, there's tent cities everywhere in Los Angeles. Like that stadium, the cost of that stadium could have ended homelessness in Los Angeles. But, I just feel like that last Super Bowl we just had and that new stadium is just like, it just showed the dystopian, crazy mindset of this collapsing empire. Just like Super Bowl commercial, just like, yeah.
And the commercials, a lot of them aren't even clever anymore. Now it's just all about like which celebrity is going to make a cameo. It's like, I mean, we really just have our society completely on autopilot.
Yes.
We just have everything. It's just like, make another Marvel and DC movie. Do this. Throw money at this. Have a celebrity show up here. There's going to be the sports schedule goes off this way. There's going to be a Super Bowl. There's going to be, and look, I'm not saying that there's not some decent television out there that I enjoy. Sure. Of course there is. And I still enjoy a good hockey game. I mean, I got my things that I still enjoy, but it's like, you still can't overlook society is on freaking autopilot right now. We are on autopilot, and we're heading off a fucking cliff. And over the past 2 years, we had a chance where it's just like, okay, what if we just turn around and start driving away from the cliff? We still haven't freaking done it. Are we? I hope so, but we haven't yet. You thought maybe we would have amidst the pandemic. We still haven't, but I freaking hope we do. I don't know what it's going to take.
I think we're going to drive off the cliff.
Yeah.
Like arguing over ratings, and as we're going off the cliff, they're going to be like, boy, maybe we should let's give everyone a coupon code. They're going to be
spilling out Russian vodka from the front window. They're just going to be doing that. Yeah. Saying, don't call it poutine anymore. Call it freedom fries. And then they just go off, and then someone will yell Doyle rules, and then it's just going to go up in flames.
It's literally, and I don't know that you'll get this reference. It's the end of Doctor Strangelove, where they're all fighting with each other while the planet's about to blow up.
No, I get that reference.
Nice,
I've
Ron.
seen Doctor Strangelove. It
Yes.
was kind of recent, but I have seen it.
Did you live tweet watching it?
No, I totally should have though. I mean, I tweeted what I did tweet was I tweeted out the Marvel movie Doctor Strange, and I was like, "Hey guys, you've been telling me to watch this movie for a long time. I don't see what all the hype's about." And I tweeted the photo from Doctor Strange, and like way too many people thought I was serious. Because I guess they know, like, I do have a reputation for not being great with movies. So a lot of people said, they were like, Doctor Strangelove, you fucking idiot. And I was like, all right. No, I actually watched Doctor Strangelove.
Oh, that's brilliant, Ron. I love it. I love that your reputation overcame Twitter. Well, Ron, tell everybody. I know you got some tour dates coming up. Where can people see you perform?
Yeah, in April, I'm going on my Poutine Not Pipelines tour. I'm not going to switch the name for no reason. I named it back in December, and I'm going to Pittsburgh. That's April 16th. I'll be in Pittsburgh. Then I'm going to Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, Burlington, Portland, Maine, Boston, and New York City. You can get tickets at romplacone.com. In June, late June, early July, I'm going to be part of the Reykjavik Fringe Festival out in Iceland. So anyone in Iceland, I'll be at your Fringe Festival. Once I know my show times and details, I'll be posting that online. But for now, I'll definitely be at the festival. You can get all those tickets and more information at romplacone.com, and subscribe to me on YouTube at romplacone, Twitter at romplacone, all the socials, romplacone. You know the drill.
And I will be headlining the Blue Note in Waikiki if you're on the beautiful island of Oahu, April 6th. You can get your tickets at grahamelwood.com. Sign up for my mailing list. You get a free smoothie recipe, and I'm working on getting more tour dates in April and May. Could be Chicago, could be California. And also Ron and I are maybe working on some stuff. We'll see what Ron and I can put together. And then Lee Camp and I are going to be doing some live government secrets now that Lee has some time on his hands. So
yeah, he does.
Check that out. Go to grahamelwood.com and sign up for the list. Ron, thank you.
Oh, sorry. I was just
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I tried to talk Lee into moving out to LA, but I don't think I was successful.
No, he's not moving. I don't think he's staying in DC, but I don't think he's moving. I don't think he's moving west.
Yeah, and I don't think he's not a big beach guy. I asked him.
No,
He's not. He's like, I could do it for an hour. I was like, that means no. that means no. That's like, do you ever like ask someone if they're a beach guy and like their answer is totally not a no, but they didn't give you a straight up no? I asked a buddy of mine once. I'm like, dude, man, are you a beach guy? Do you want to go? Do you want to come to the beach sometime? And he literally said this to me. He goes, I'm more of a sidewalk guy. He was serious though. He wasn't trying to be funny. And I was like, that's the weirdest way of saying I'm not a beach guy I've ever heard. I've never heard anyone. I'm more of a sidewalk guy. That makes no fucking sense. I was like, clearly, we're never going to go to the beach together. Like, ever. You have no interest in this ever. I'd feel bad if you were there. I was where is a sidewalk to your liking?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I mean, I like going on the boardwalk. I'm like, no, you didn't. You meant I don't like going to the beach, and you said it in the most awkward way ever. I'm not a beach guy. Like, that's all.
It's not that I don't like the beach. The beach is great, but the last time I went, there was the sand and the parking, and I was just like, "Oh, you're not a beach guy then." That's what you just said. You just said you're not a beach guy. Like when you go to the beach, that's like you deal with all that. That's or you lived out at the beach like we do, and you just like that's why I live there, and so I can just go get the beach whenever I want it. And then people are like, the traffic, and I'm like, oh, all right, stay home. Go to your strip mall, and
I'm more of a strip mall guy. You beach guy? Well, unless there's a strip mall. I really like to celebrate nature with a good strip mall. You're just humbled by it. I mean, you're just humbled by an outlet store. I mean, it's some people, they don't see their first outlet store until they're 21 years old. And I am so envious of that people. It's like seeing an outlet store again for the first time. It's so majestic. I go to the Nike store and I'm like, how can you not believe in a supreme being? Look at this. Look at this.
There's nothing more meditative than just standing outside of that big Best Buy yellow sign and just looking and just like letting it wash over you. It's really
Oh,
meditative.
yeah. Oh, well, there's studies around that. I mean, the Best Buy sign, it just releases natural serotonin when like the bright glow. It's amazing what it can do for you.
I mean, it's like driving around in like looking for parking in a parking garage. It's the same thing like being on your surfboard, just feeling the waves. It basically has the same effect. It's really amazing.
Looking for parking at a casino is the same as playing basketball for 6 hours. A lot of people don't realize that, but it's like the same level workout, and what it does for you, it's great. It's just fantastic. So yeah, I mean, the beach is like, meh, whatever.
Looking for parking at a casino, that just sounds horrible. Like it just sounds like the worst. It's like I'd rather have to work in a Taco Bell than do that.
Man, I mean, when you give me those choices, yeah, I think I'd go Taco Bell too, because I would just give people free food all the time. That's what I would do until I got fired. There was a guy who did that in Bloomington. He was the coolest guy. He was always so stoned, but he's like, you guys want some extra shit? And we're like, yeah. And he would just give you all kinds of stuff. He would just throw extra stuff in your bag. He did it for everybody. He was this cool guy.
Love it. Good for him.
Not all heroes wear capes.
No, some of them wear Taco Bell shirts. God bless you, young man. Wherever you are, you deserve our praise and our admiration. You're a hero.
He's on a sidewalk somewhere doing cartwheels, man. He's
he's just walking through a parking garage right now with the sun in his face, just enjoying life. Is what he's doing.
This is what makes it all worth it. It's just walking around that empty parking garage like, this is why I don't mind the high rent right here, man. This is freaking, God, we're going to have a picnic later.
This is what it's all about. This is why you put in the hard out, the long hours. This is what it's all about, you know. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. We are still in our 9th month of demonetization from YouTube. So support what we're doing at patreon.com/Graham Elwood or rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, which is a blockchain cryptocurrency platform. It's free to sign up, and there's a premium level at $10 a month. And for that, you get everybody on the platform's premium content. Myself, Lee Camp, Ron Placone, Jimmy Dore, Whitney Webb, Kim Iverson, Abby Martin, and many, many others. You can also support what we're doing at Venmo at Graham-Elwood. And go to GrahamElwood.com. We have a PayPal button and a PO box. I also have crypto wallets, which are all in the show notes. Thanks for supporting what we do.